But now let me jump into what I said I was going to do, and that is talk to you about goal setting for 2022. And as Kevin said, this doesn't have to be a business goal. This can be any goal that you want to write for 2022. And the purpose of this session is not to talk to you about why you should be writing goals. I think we all know that goals are important. If you're like me, you've probably received at least 10 emails that are taking you to either an article, a podcast, something discussing goal writing. We get inundated with this message at the beginning of the new year. I actually heard the DJ on the Sirius channel I was listening to the other day was talking about New Year's resolutions. He says, I don't really believe in them, but hey, if you're gonna do them, here's a tip from the New York Times. And he went on to talk about how to write it as a SMART resolution. So I thought that was rather interesting. So today's purpose isn't to take you through why you should be writing goals, although I do spend one moment talking about it, but it's more to give you a process for writing an effective goal, a goal that's really going to help you achieve the success that you want to achieve with it. So always good to start with a quote, and I thought this one just highlighted really nicely the purpose for writing a goal. Right? Goals give us direction. All right. So after you had that moment to read that quote, let me just, as I said, spend one moment talking about why we want to set goals. The obvious is that they give you direction. That quote just really spoke to it nicely, and we know that. But the other points that I really wanted to highlight here was that if you write a goal well, and I am going to talk about SMART goals because we can't have a session on writing goals without talking about SMART goals. If you write your goal as a SMART goal, then it does provide for you a way to track progress, which is really important. It also provides a way to keep yourself accountable. I think we all, I imagine we all in the past have written goals with all of the best intentions, and we started the new year working towards that goal. And then life got in the way, right? People's priorities became our priority all of a sudden. Other people's needs, issues, whatever. Things happen like COVID that get in the way of the goals that we originally set. So having that goal written down as a SMART goal helps to keep you accountable. And sometimes we all need that. So another benefit for why you want to set goals, they also can be motivating when written well. It can motivate you to do those things that you really want to do. And then finally, and the reason that I wanted to share this process that I'm going to share with you today is because when you approach setting goals the right way, they can help you really identify what it is that you really want. Okay, so like I said, today is about helping you learn a process for setting goals that will really serve you well. As you know, because you've been coming to these sessions probably for over a year now, so I'm going to get the hook in about 20 minutes. So it is my expectation, or I should say, I don't have the expectation that you will have a goal fully written at the end of our time together today. What I want to show you is the methodology, walk through the steps with you, explain them a little bit. I will give you a chance after each step to start taking some notes, giving it some thought, and then you will get a handout. You will get these slides when Ben sends out the other information from today's session, and you can use that to complete the process. Because I think you'll see also the process of writing a good, effective goal is not something that can be done in just a few moments. Okay, but with that, let's go ahead and get started. So the first step with this is to really identify what is your primary goal, right? Your primary goal, your overarching goal, whatever you want to call it. What is that for you? An example might be, I want to advance in my career. It might be that I want to be a better manager. It could be I want better work-life balance. And if you haven't started to give this question some thought yet, then let me just ask you this question. What would a home run in either your personal life or your career look like for you this year? Think about it that way. That might help you to come up with a goal if you haven't already. Another question I'll pose to you if you haven't given this much thought is, looking ahead at 2022, what's your vision for the coming year? What do you think might change, or what would you like to see change? Think about that. I'm going to give you a moment to just jot down what your notes would be around your primary goal or your overarching goal. All right. Hopefully you have something written down. You've begun to formulate a goal for yourself, at least an area that you'd like to start exploring if it's worthy of becoming a goal for you for 2022. And I'm going to talk in terms of a goal. It's very possible that you'll have more than one, okay? Certainly you're going to see through this process that we're going to build many goals underneath this one primary goal, but it's possible you'll have more than one primary goal. Okay, so step 2 is a very important step. And this is related to that 5th reason as to why it's so important to set goals, because it helps you figure out what you really want. And you do that by asking yourself, right, and being very introspective here. Why do you want this goal? Because this is really a big question, and being introspective is not always easy for people. I did just want to help you or provide this tool to help you think through this. So you've got your overarching goal written down. Ask yourself, why do you want this goal? What will achieving this goal give you? Take a moment, write something down. What will accomplishing this goal give you? Now, with that in mind, I want you to ask yourself, and why do you want that? What will accomplishing that give you? Take a moment, write something down. All right, now focusing on what you just wrote, ask yourself again, and why do I want that? What is that going to give me? Taking this time to really ask yourself these questions, it's really a gift for yourself. Why is this really important to me? Think about what you just wrote and ask yourself one more time, and why do I want that? What will that give me? So give that one more thought. And then finally, the last question to ask yourself in this series of introspection is, what will this goal help me to feel? Think about that, write it down. This process of asking yourself multiple times and drilling down, here's my goal, here's why I want that, and here's why I want that, and so on. It helps you, like I said, figure out what it is that you really want. In coaching, we call it the thing behind the thing. Often when I work with my clients, what they come to me with initially, maybe it's their goal, it's an issue that just happened that they wanted to talk about. It's something that they think they're feeling, right? When we start really talking about it and getting introspective with it, and getting into a process of me asking them questions to help them drill down deeper into it, what they thought it was initially isn't really what it is. It's, as I said, the thing behind the thing. So it's very easy for us to put goals out there like, I want to be a better manager. But what does that really mean? I want to advance in my career. What really does that mean? Why do you want that? What will having that give you? Going through this process might actually help you adjust your goal. You might realize that as you wrote your goal isn't what you really want, it's something different. The benefit here of figuring out the why behind your goal and the benefit of achieving this goal for you, and that's the feeling part of this, really increases your odds of achieving success with your goal. And you can get to this point with this. And this is the step that I think most people miss. All right. So next step, after we understand why we want this goal, you need to ask yourself what it's going to take for me to reach this goal. This is the personal fact-finding mission aspect of this process. Right? You figured out what it is that you want. Now, what is it that you're going to need to get there? And it helps to think of it in terms of the skills that you might need to develop. Looking at your strengths and weaknesses. Right? Where are they and how are they going to support you with achieving this goal? Or how might it be something that you need to acknowledge and possibly overcome or work around? And then finally, what are the resources that are available to you that you can leverage? So I'm going to give you a moment. Again, look at what you've written and just start thinking about any skills you might need to develop, strengths and weaknesses that will play a part in this, and then any resources that you can leverage. All right, so you've started to identify what it is that you need to be able to reach your goal. The next step with that is to make a to-do list. This is where you look at all those things you just identified in step 3. You make a list now of what you need to do based on what you uncovered in step 3. And it does help for you to categorize your list this way, right? Again, you looked at your skills. So let's create a list of skills I need to develop, any maybe training that I need, relationships that I need to cultivate. And then when I looked at and did that inventory of my strengths and weaknesses, what weaknesses or deficits did I see that I might need to overcome? Give you a moment to think about that. Again, like I said, you will be getting these slides, so you will have this information. So don't be so worried about capturing everything. Just start the process. All right, so you have your to-do list. at least started. Once you have that list, you're now going to want to prioritize the list. Look at everything that's on that list. Where do you think you would get the most value? What items would, if you were to focus on those first, where would you get the most value? And where do you feel most motivated to act? So look at your list and prioritize them. You can put numbers next to them, highlight, circle them, whatever works for you. Go through this process. What's going to be most important? Where do I get started? And this can be a fluid list. This can be something that you adjust as the year goes on. Priorities might change. You don't want to change your goal. You might need to adjust priorities. So you've got your to-do list. You've prioritized the list, identified for you where you want to start. What are those items that you want to start working on? The next step, step 6, is to write those SMART goals. I told you I was going to mention them, and we really need to mention them because they are an important aspect of the goal writing process. It's just not the only thing that you do. And I feel so many people think in terms of goal writing as just writing SMART goals and not all of this other stuff. Again, you probably all are very aware of SMART goals, but in case you need some help with writing a SMART goal, I did really like this, this image from the Coaching Tools Company, which is a coaching resource that I use. I thought this did a good job, again, of reminding us what the acronym stands for. Now, what you're doing with these SMART goals is you're writing these for the items that you identified as wanting to work on. So you've got your overarching goal, and then you looked at it and said, what are those things that I need to do to reach that goal? And it might have been skills you needed to develop, weaknesses that you might need to overcome, or deficits, relationships that you can leverage. And you made a list, you prioritized that list. You're writing goals now around those items, because by achieving or gaining those skills, creating those relationships, overcoming those deficits are what's going to help you meet or succeed at achieving that overarching goal. And the only point I'll mention other than what's on the slide here is when you're writing goals, all goals, always want to use positive language. Okay, so here's your SMART goal. Again, you're writing this for those items that you identified in step 6. And this is a time-consuming process. Like I said, we probably have all heard of SMART goals. If I were to poll you all, and Terry, thanks for your comment there. I wonder how many of you would say you actually write SMART goals. And if you want to share that in chat, by all means, go ahead. We all know we should do it. Like I said, it is time-consuming. It can sometimes be kind of challenging. It's easier now, though, if you have gone through steps 1 through 5, because now you're looking at those small chunked down items that you need to do in order to reach that overarching goal. And you write SMART goals for each of those individual items. And then it does become easier to get specific and to write it in a measurable way, to have it be actionable, realistic, and time-bound. All right, so that was step 6. Step 7 is to create action plans and a timeline. All right, so somewhat you're going to have this based into your SMART goal, but you've identified the SMART goals. Now, how are you going to make those things happen? It's at step 7 that you're really doing the specific tasks that you need to do to achieve this overarching goal. Step 6 was writing the goal out as the SMART goal. 7 is writing the plan to make it happen. An example here, or some examples here might be, right, if you had the goal of improving your management of your direct reports, an action plan might include, or might be that you're going to meet with your team members weekly. It might be that you're going to give on-the-spot feedback to 3 direct reports every day. Or it might be that you're going to complete a course in providing feedback by the end of the month. Okay, that would be an action plan with a timeline. If you had the goal to network more, you might say, I'm going to attend 3 professional conferences in the next 12 months, or I'm going to join 2 new networking groups in the first quarter of 2022. Like I said, this is the step where you actually are doing the work to hit your goal. And then finally, because I told you this was an 8-step process, the last step is to be accountable. Most people do not accomplish their goals on their own. Okay, especially if it's a big goal. Right? They get help. So now that you have your overarching goal, now that you have your SMART goals and your action items, share those goals with somebody. Find an accountability partner, somebody that you can say, hey, these are my goals for the new year. This is what I want to get done. This is how I'm going to do it. All right. Let somebody help you. Let them provide you with objective feedback. And potentially, maybe when you need it, let them give you that gentle push to help you reach your goals. Okay. As I said, writing these goals is going to help you hold yourself accountable, but it's really helpful to have an accountability partner as well. I know, again, with the clients that I coach, this is one of the biggest benefits that clients receive from coaching. It's that ability for somebody else to hold you accountable, to check in with you, to ask you how you're doing on your goals, to ask you where you might be getting into trouble with your goals, how might you need to adjust it, and what might that look like. So finding an accountability partner, someone that can, like I said, help to give you objective feedback, maybe that gentle nudge can go a long way to helping you be successful with achieving your goals for 2022. So that does end my time, and right before I officially got the hook. So I do just want to thank you all for taking time to really go through this process with me. This was a little gift for yourself, some time to really think about what you want and what's important for you. As I said, I'll be sending this out. If you have any questions, want to discuss it further, or need an accountability partner, my contact information is on this last slide. I'd be happy to talk to you. Kevin, turning it back to you.
Thanks, Margaret. And I was listening to you, and I know we were talking about helping people set their own goals, but I'm in the midst of doing a bunch of engagement surveys right now, and top of the list these days is helping. People are saying I want to be developed, and I think this is really a good process that a manager can use with the people in his team, because oftentimes we associate development with the next career step, and then we get to a smaller company, we say, well, there's not promotion's not there, but really people are just saying, how do you improve me? And I think this is something we should be taking a look at as, the HR professionals or organizations, to say, is this a way I can help managers to help their employees set goals for themselves? And again, it's much more of a coaching orientation versus job specific or job related. So I think it's a real nice, fairly simple to understand framework that I think could help with that kind of challenge I think a lot of companies are facing, which is, keeping people as part of that. Is how do I help their own development? So thanks very much. That was great. Great way to start the year off, Margaret. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.